I am Brooke Lacey. I've been in tech for the better part of 30 years. Started in the 90s, worked on the Y2K bug. That's my flex. I saved everyone from impending doom. You're welcome for that. It was wild. It was wild times. They thought airplanes were going to fall from the sky. Once the clock turned to zero, that the world was coming to an end. So that was a cool experience. My transition from Web 1 to Web 2 to Web 3 is kind of an easy one. I'm just excited about I'm just excited about technology and what we're doing here. So to my left, this is my left, right? Is the incomparable Tim Cook. And I would love to know what you're doing in this space and football and stuff.
Hello, everyone. Hello. My name is Tim Cook, but no, I am not the guy from Apple. I've heard that a couple times. It's very nice to meet you all. I have been in the crypto space since the end of 2019, beginning of 2020. The pandemic, like a lot of us had, gave us a lot of time to just do things, and I utilized my time to research on what blockchain was, how to diversify my portfolio in the stock market. Um, while being on that journey, it transitioned me to understanding the technology, which then led me to NFTs, and got a chance to be on spaces for like the last year and some change, meeting a lot of great individuals such as Brooke, Lucas, these individuals on stage. And it's been an amazing experience so far, and I appreciate the time.
Awesome. Yeah, you've made an impression with a lot of people. And I know the first time you spoke was at NFT in Phoenix, NFT Connect in Phoenix, and people just they loved it. I'm glad you're speaking out, and we need more of that. To my right is the incomparable Lucas B.
Oh, it's me.
we
Hey.
we always have a good time, me and Lucas.
Right?
So tell us who are
Right?
you?
Oh, okay. So I've I've been in technology or startups and .com business since the year 2000. Yeah. So yeah, I've just focused on that my entire career. I was a head of
He's the
marketing.
founder of Amazon.
Head of marketing for a bunch of well-known companies. Exited a couple of companies of my own. Exited some startups of my own, or startups that I worked for as well. And the way I found myself into, I guess you could say, the NFT space, which I had no confidence in August of 2020 when I got into it, it changed my mind within 15, 30 days maximum, because a couple of friends of mine actually sold out their NFT collections for like, first one was like 70 ETH, next one was like 26 ETH in like 30 minutes. So I was convinced. And then I sold my first NFT, October of 2020.
One ETH.
No, that was a different one. That was a photograph. I got wicked lucky. $400 I made the first one. Anyway, I've been in the NFT space for a while, but the Web3 space, I've been onboarding people, Fortune 1000 companies. I have an influence company that actually works with Fortune 1000 companies to, like, I guess, market NFTs. I also have, I'm just working on some tools for builders in the Web3 space right now too, as well, that I can't really speak about because they're proprietary, unlike everybody else who thinks everything should be open. I like proprietary. And that's what I'm doing here. So, and I think the future of Web3 is bright. And
Yeah, I think there's going to be a little bit of some disruptive conversation, because I also working on some highly proprietary things for big companies, like I talked about yesterday, and the future is going to be a little different than what I think people are expecting. This idea of open source. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But moving on to Austin, my lovely friend Austin. Who are you?
I'm a cowboy.
Yes. What is it? Beehaw.
Beehaw.
It's too much. It's too early. We were out late. Beehaw is what you get.
Beehaw. I started my first business when I was 19. And it was a woodworking and carpentry business, and it was making all custom furniture. And I did that for a few years, and I remember I had a warehouse. It was 1,800 square feet, and I didn't have any employees, but I just continued doing jobs and whatnot. I remember sitting in the warehouse one day and I was like, looking up, I can grow this to be, something that I do for the next 30 years and have it be a successful business or whatever it may be. And I was like, but I want to experience more. I want to do more in my life. And so I called up my dad and I said, "Hey, do we have any family outside of this state?" And he goes, "Yeah, you have a crazy uncle down in San Antonio." And so I called my
Is he
uncle.
here?
Yes, he is. And so I called my uncle up and I said, "Hey, this is Austin, Hank's son." He goes, "Yeah, I know you." And I said, "That's great. Um, I want to move to San Antonio." And he goes, "Yeah, let's do it." So I didn't know much about that side of my family and moved out to San Antonio and ended up uh, getting into a couple of just labor jobs. And my grandpa calls me, and he's like a senior DGen, I guess you can say. And my grandpa calls me and says, "Hey, you need to get into this Bitcoin." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, whatever." He's like, a week later, "You need to get into this Bitcoin," a little bit more aggressive. I was like, "Yeah, yeah, whatever." And then about a month later, he came and shook me until I was upside down. So, "You need to get into this Bitcoin." So I got into Bitcoin. Well, we ended up, and that was like my start to the crypto journey. And what ended up happening was throughout it was I ended up getting scammed a few times, but that was because of my own fault. I didn't educate myself on things. I didn't educate on what I was investing in. I didn't spend the time to look into the projects I was investing in, or even just understand the technology itself. Ended up getting scammed and was disheartened, disenfranchised, and wanted to didn't want anything to do with crypto at that point. And when a couple years go by, and this is about 2020, and a new opportunity arises, and I'm like, I've already been scammed by crypto a bunch of times. I don't know if I really want to do that again. And my grandpa came again and shook the crap out of me, and ended up getting back involved in crypto. And but this journey was all about education and understanding to the fullest extent as much as possible what I was getting involved in, and that was a game changer. And I realized, what this technology can do. So excited
Yeah,
for
I
it.
don't think you can actually say that you're part of crypto if you haven't been scammed. So anybody that hasn't, you're out. You're out. Tim, how are you?
It's Alex. It's all good.
Who said Tim? Somebody told me it was Tim.
That's
Tim's
Tim.
over there.
Oh my god.
You're good.
Between
You're
two
good.
Tims.
Is we've had a lot of
Start over.
conversations.
Start over. Cut.
It's early still.
It's all good. You're just hungover. That's all. We'll blame it on that.
Who told you that?
Still early.
I'm so sorry. Alex,
Thank you, Brooke.
Mark, is it Bill?
I'm Alex. I come from e-commerce. I have a drop shipping agency with about 60 employees. Last NFT Connect, fun fact, it had about 40 employees, so we're growing. And in the Web3 space, my passion project, what we're building is Quantum ID, and it's a learn-to-earn education system which teaches people how to unlock the greatness inside of them and teach them how to harness that rather than teaching them to become a worker. And it's for mentally and financially elevating. And there's a strong backbone to mindset, to understanding the power of our mind, and then we teach some concrete skills for people to develop just income streams. And that's what I'm up to.
I love that. I spoke yesterday about how passionate I am about getting women into tech. I have for a long time because, this is it's a mental game being able to take care of ourselves, and financial literacy and understanding how this all works. We were out yesterday and we joke about this, but there was an entire group of girls, young girls at the bar. And that sounded terrible. That's not what I meant. Like they were of
That was
age.
really
Like
bad.
they were over
That was bad.
21. They were young in my eyes. I'm old. And they were so excited about what we were doing, and essentially, I taught them all about crypto, and their eyes light up because there's so much opportunity. So I love this idea of creating platforms and apps and all of those things to keep people's mental health going, and understanding that this is this is a lifestyle, this is a choice, that we're moving into, because it's the Wild West and you don't know what's going to happen. It's very volatile. So I like that there's different ways of being a part of this ecosystem. So I appreciate that. Um, I think that the future, let's go into like what we each think the future of this is. Again, if this is your first time meeting me, not only am I a TikTok famous influencer, um, for various reasons. I am the head of web3 integration for a theater company, movie theater company, amongst other clients. This one is the biggest. They have 19 across Utah and Idaho. Um, and they are essentially, we're moving them from web 2 software platform to web 3 blockchain platforms, so that we can tokenize their ticketing system, tokenize their rewards program. They're going to have an NFT launch, and they already have this huge community. Didn't even think about it, but there's these moviegoers that they'll sit and they'll go in real life in huge groups and literally just talk about the movies that they've seen, and kind of cut through them, and they're just fanatic. And so these guys, and the CEO of Megaplex is so all in on crypto, and it's a dream, because he's just like, throw whatever at the wall and see what sticks. We're gonna try all the things, and what a beautiful way to get everybody involved. But yes, it's a centralized company. There's still, it's a corporate structure, so it works a lot differently than the degen world. I spent most of 2021. What year is it? Who am I? I spent most of the
Tim.
year. I'm Tim. Um, I've spent most of last year working on tools. Like, my very first project was on Algorand, and it failed miserably. Go figure. Shockingly, the tech works great, but as a platform and trying to get people to adopt this new thing, not only as NFTs and all this was coming about, it was like, no, actually we're not gonna do it on Ethereum. We're gonna do it over here on this other weird thing. And so it obviously didn't work. And then started doing Solana. So I went backwards. And but I was so interested in the tools. So that being said, Lucas, I would love to kind of have this conversation with you about proprietary, like, the tool building is really where the future is, in my opinion, and it is yours
Yeah,
as well.
I'm a huge fan. But I also think, like, the future of Web3 to me, it's basically a digital wallet that has everything in it: your identity, your assets for games, music you listen to, movies, content, everything. Like, nothing is going to not be touched by Web3 in 10 years from now. Like, if you want to release a book, you're not going to release it the regular way anymore. You're going to release it on chain, or at least going to have some kind of asset on chain that goes with the book, kind of like Gary Vaynerchuk did. The ticketing system, like you're doing, like, you're going to have rewards based on how many tickets, how often you go. Let's just say a good example. Maybe you guys know Dead and Co. I don't know if you know who that is, but yeah, okay. If you go on tour with these guys or wherever they're doing, like, you follow them enough that you get, it's like a subway card. Enough tickets. These tickets are collectibles, and you say, hey, you get 12 of these tickets, and all of a sudden you get to be at this intimate show with all these people in this little, like, small room like this, but very close, and you get to access them afterwards and be like, this is what a great idea that is, right? And I think just think about a digital wallet that's way more secure than MetaMask. It's not asking for much, guys. Come on. Just imagine a wallet that has all these assets, and they're like, you just plug it in and it's agnostic of platform. That's what's amazing. It's literally plug it in, it works everywhere. You don't have to worry about having Apple, iTunes. You don't have to worry about having Netflix. It's all stored in your wallet. And I keep thinking, like, oh, the wallet, but it's digital. So let's pretend it. So yeah, that's what I see the future of Web3 is literally going to touch everything, medical records, everything, except for there needs to be a HIPAA compliance wall, of course, for privacy. Because I don't want everybody know what my medical history is. So yeah. Anyway, that's what I think of it.
And security is I think the biggest thing right now is, for people onboarding into NFTs want like this, right? Everybody wants to buy JPEGs and like, make all this money, but the tools still, and for those of us trying to protect all of you with the security stuff, it's been slow going. It's very difficult to write that code because there's no precedence. There's nothing saying like this is how you protect. And I'm going to say this from stage: when people use the word hack, like, like you didn't get hacked. There's no like nefarious, nobody, I didn't dial into your computer and get your seed phrase. Like you clicked on something wrong. So anybody
You
remember
hacked yourself.
email? You hacked yourself. Exactly. Like we remember email hacks, right? Or malicious content. You click on something, your grandma's like, what happened to my computer? Well, you clicked something in your email, grandma. It's the same thing, right? Like this is, you're not getting hacked. So we can't write code that's going to stop you from user error. So really we just have to create the tools that have innate things built in so that it's less likely that you're going to click and have something drained. But just remember that self-sovereignty means self-sovereignty. You have to be in control of what you're doing.
Which sucks, but it also
But-
is part of the deal. And that's the biggest opportunity. If you guys walk away with anything, like start building tools. I mean, this is like 1996 and everybody's like, which internet browser do I use? There's so much opportunity and like no one's even like understanding like this huge opportunity. If you study history, this is your time to build tools that people will use in mass because there are no tools. And only 1% or less of people are using anything that's a digital wallet or anything like that. They're just scared of it. So
we're going to say multiple times, you'll hear me say it ad nauseum, that in the gold rush, the people making the money were the ones producing the picks and the shovels. So always be the tool builder. We joke about Web3 terminology in the lexicon of like we're all building, but it's true. Like that's what we should be doing. Do not depend on volatile flipping of JPEGs. That's that is not the future.
but don't forget,
Flip.
building a community is also building, right?
Yes.
Building a following because on a Web 2 platform, regardless if you call it Web 2, Web 3, Web 1, I don't care. Just
Exactly.
if you're building a following to help onboard more people, that's building. So you are always building. Creating content is building also. So
Tim.
I totally agree with
Alex.
that. Can you? Oh, here we go. No, I totally agree with that. Just to backtrack a little bit, to give you a little bit more about my background, I studied sociology at Oregon State and played football as well. Scored a couple touchdowns, then got a chance to play in the NFL for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Scored a couple touchdowns there and met a lot of great people along the way. And one thing that I realized growing up, just from multiple backgrounds, traveling a few places, is that the people I've met, the conversations that I have had, is the fact that a lot of people don't understand financial literacy. And coming from a background where you don't have as much, and then going to a background to where you make a couple six figures a couple years in a row, and having these conversations, I wanted to build a platform, a project about financial literacy, and utilize my athleticism to bring people to understand their body. So me and my partners created a fitness app. Well, we didn't create a fitness app. They host and allow people to basically build their body on the app, have develop a positive body image
What's it
for
called?
themselves. It is called Team Builder. So I have a total of 3 to 4 individuals that I work personally with to help me create this experience with Dream Big, Be Big. And I've utilized my platform as an athlete to help onboard so many people over the last year and some change. And just for numbers wise, this time last year, even though I've scored touchdowns in the NFL, college, big time football, I had under 1,000 individuals support me on Twitter. And today I have almost 32K, and it's just from continuously being on spaces, speaking with individuals, trying to understand what this technology is and how it can create opportunities for individuals that didn't have those financial or have that financial background. And like I said, I met a lot of great people along the way, and Lucas brought up a great point in building a community first, because you can't do anything without a community. That's one reason why I love this technology, this space, is because I'm a team guy. I have done nothing without my team, without my quarterback, without my lineman protecting me. I can't run the ball, I can't score any touchdowns without having them as my backup. So I appreciate this whole community. I appreciate individuals for even hosting stuff like this, because it's beneficial to people who are trying to onboard, because they hear about NFTs, but they don't know how to get one. They don't know how to open up a wallet. I think I opened up my first wallet in January due to Lucas. Lucas was an individual who constantly was in my ear about NFTs. And he was in my ear probably, I think, what was it, September, August of last year? May. It's been a minute. I've known Lucas a while, but thanks to
It's
individuals
like a
like him.
time warp in Web3. We're like, remember last year at NFT Connect? No, Brooke,
Mm.
that was 2 months ago.
This space moves pretty fast, and I'm just trying to onboard as many people as possible and continue coming to places like this.
That's awesome. Like that is absolutely how this all works, is community. And
Community market fit,
we-
not product market fit anymore. It's community.
explain what that means.
market
I was
fit.
going to say that,
Well, back in the old days,
right?
it was like
Old
we
school.
launch a product and we would be like, oh, I hope a whole bunch of people use my app.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, okay, what's your, DAUs or monthly active users, daily active users? Nobody, because you don't have a marketing budget, whatever. Well, now with NFTs, you give them a common financial asset that they all want to see succeed. All of a sudden, you actually are able to raise funds and also have everybody use this. They can actually jump into a community and start using a product so that they want. So they have a financial vested interest in that product also working and being successful. So it's super cool to actually use NFTs to unite people under a common flag, and then say, hey, here's what we're also working on as well. This great tool, to bring it up, but like the Floor app. I don't know if you guys know what the Floor app. A guy named Chris Mattern's developing it in New York. Great dude, by the way.
Mhm.
He did the exact same thing. Launched an app, just with some screenshots. Here's my NFT. Help me fund it. Bam. He launched it as an alpha, and all his early users jumped on there and started using it and gave him like unbelievable good input on building and tweaking the app so that he could iterate and make it like perfect. So without that community built in and having a financial vested interest in that working, he would never have gotten that. He would have had to pay tons of marketing dollars.
Right.
He would have blown through users and okay, this is, it's called window shoppers in the tech space. It's like, oh, let's show you this. And if you like it, cool. If not, it was free. So what do you want? What you like, what, just delete it off your phone. So community market fit is the new thing. Like if you have a community first,
And then you fit
just
it to the market.
exactly, and you build products for them.
It
Yeah.
saves a lot of money too whenever you have a team. Like basically speaking about the same thing that you're speaking about, but you don't have to pay celebrities, quote unquote,
Right.
or individuals a lot of just money to market something that they don't understand.
Right.
But if you have individuals around you, I think I learned this from Lucas. If you surround yourself with individuals that think like you don't have to go find. How was that quote? Do you remember the quote that I'm talking about? So surround
Put you on the
yourself.
spot. Remember that quote?
Surround yourself with a lot of individuals that think like you,
Yeah.
and you won't have to. It's
It's okay.
it's early.
Sorry,
today.
I can't remember.
It's
okay.
early
I-
today.
I,
My
usually remember
apologies.
every quote. So I,
All
It really
the
does
quotes.
though.
Alex, Austin, what do you think about how are you building your community?
Well, I'm gonna reshape that question because the first question was future of Web3.
So let's go back to that.
So before the future of Web3, I want to take you all down a little bit of a history lesson or whatnot. And we had something throughout humanity called the Dark Ages. And throughout the Dark Ages, there was like no innovation, no creativity, and also the accessibility to information was very limited. So the only amount of information you got, or the information you did receive, was at the churches or from whatever the kings or the kingdoms wanted to share with you. And most people didn't travel 10 miles outside of where they were born. So the world was very close knit. The world was very the dark ages, in the sense that there's no creativity, there's no information being shared. And then something happened called the printing press. And the printing press, what was now a decentralized communication protocol, or something that anybody in the world can be able to create information and share it with others. And there was a beginning of memes. So we think memes started on the internet, and the memes actually started back way before then. And what happened was people were creating these memes that were essentially like chastising the church and chastising the kingdoms, and it was almost like saying, like, like a revolt against them and whatnot. Shortly after, about 70 years later, the Medici family started using, which they didn't invent it, but they popularized it, something called double entry bookkeeping. And so here you had a communication protocol and a printing press that anybody in the world can create information and share it. And even if they shut down one printing press, somebody else can go and create one in another city and keep on sharing that information. So it opened up the communication between all the cities and people being able to share information. Then you have the double entry bookkeeping, where people are able to do finance and be able to do business and be able to uh, uh, keep track of things that they were trading. And so you had communication protocol and a ledger based protocol. And you come to today, and what do we have now? We had the internet come out, and we have blockchain come out. So we had a decentralized communication protocol, and we have a decentralized ledger based protocol. And the reason why I bring that up is right after, during the Dark Ages, there's nothing being done. Humanity didn't advance at all. The communication protocol and the ledger protocol came out, and we had the Renaissance, and artwork blossomed, culture blossomed, music, inventions, innovation. It took humanity forward way further than we had previously. And I think we're heading into a time right now that we're literally writing the history books, and it's a blank canvas, to where anybody in the world is going to have now the accessibility to not only information, but the accessibility to transactionals and finance, and be able to create the things that they aspire to do. We're not gonna see the all the amazing things that do get created, the same way that during like the Industrial Revolution, and you had all the brilliant minds of Tesla and Einstein and all those, that now we're starting to use the stuff that they brought to light. So the future of Web3, I think, is tied to accessibility as well as innovation, to where it's going to advance humanity light years.
For sure. And ownership, I think is so big for artists and musicians, and really even in business, like being able to own what you're working on. So Alex, Bill,
Well,
The other Tim.
Tim too.
one thing I can speak on is the future of education in Web3, which really excites me and should excite a lot of people. Traditional education is going to get absolutely clapped by Web3. We're already seeing academies have their education in the form of an NFT, where students purchase the NFT in order to get their education, and afterwards can sell the NFT. And if the academy delivering the education is consistently increasing the value of the education, they actually make a profit on their education um, while receiving the education. And that's how it should be. We're meant to grow and expand. We're not meant to put ourselves in a $200,000 hole to then get a track to get out of it over the next 20 years. We're seeing learn to earn ecosystems where people get rewarded with tokens for learning certain skills and then applying them in valuable ways that benefit the ecosystem. So the ecosystem's rewarding people for learning and for bettering their skills within the ecosystem. So in long-term horizon, education systems are going to be built in a way where anyone for free will be able to start an education down whatever path they want. People won't be asking, what do I do that everybody else is doing? There will be a decentralized infrastructure for someone to think, what do I want to do? Find the academy for that, which has a positive feedback loop of becoming better at something and getting rewarded for it, and then master their craft while being rewarded for mastering their craft if they genuinely care for it and add value with their craft. So that I'm really excited about. That's going to completely change education, and I'm here for it.
I think the game. Yes,
Well,
yes, we love it.
Here's what's crazy is we're all in a world right now to where we've been really comfortable with just staying like this. And Satoshi here wrote the white paper, whoever Satoshi Nakamoto is, changed it to where we have the opportunity for self-sovereignty, be able to own, like you said, ownership and accessibility. It's there's a lot of problems in the world. There's a lot of things that we can go and point at every single thing out here in this go walk down the street, and you can point at so many problems and say, hey, this restaurant's not running this efficiently. You can say this law firm's not doing this efficiently. You can say the courthouse isn't doing this correctly. Where we have as people the opportunity to change all of that. But if we do not choose to grab a hold of that and don't have the will to educate ourselves, talking about education, to to make those changes, grab a hold of that opportunity, the world's just going to stay the same. And so we have true empowerment right now to where we have the will, we have the technology, we have the education to bring people together to actually make changes in the world. And what happens a lot of times, people get comfortable. And what sucks is, when we stay comfortable, nothing changes.
This is so true. Disruptive technology has always made people uncomfortable. I remember when email was happening, and I had this boss. I don't know if it was. Sometimes the stories get jumbled in my head, but I don't know if it was my boss or somebody else's boss that would make his assistant print out the email so that he could write in his answer, and then she would have to type the email answer. He was like, I'm not having it. This is not happening. Email is going nowhere. This is ridiculous. This whole internet thing. And, made people very uncomfortable. Like, what's going to happen to the mail? Like our beautiful
I
mail
wish it would
system.
go away.
I know, exactly. So that being said, let's talk about like the history. Is history repeating itself? Is there something we can take from that to learn from? Because I personally, like, when Lucas and I talk about how it was back in the 90s and the early 2000s, I'm seeing a lot of that sort of repeat itself, and there were a lot of like issues. Do you remember what was that company that was grocery delivery? It was like WeVan or Webvan, right? And it was like grocery delivery, and they went under. Go figure. And now you can just make a phone call.
Now who grocery shops anymore? I mean,
Right.
literally, like I have not been to the grocery store since 2013. No joke. Dead serious. That's not a joke. So it's true. I mean, at the end of the day, there's also a cool like new economy that's starting too. Like think about it. If you buy a concert ticket and you can't make the show, you don't have to like give it to a friend or like, hey, you guys want to buy my tickets? And there's no more scalping. Like it literally can just be sold on the secondary. How cool is that? You can actually start. I mean, if you're able to buy assets, and I'm not sure, I haven't really worked out the content model on this one yet, but remember video stores back in the day where you guys would go to like a local video store. You could actually, I know it sounds crazy, but I was so young. I just barely remember before Blockbuster. But yeah, it's interesting because you could literally start your own, if you own the content, there's always this code will be written in the smart contract where no matter what, if you own those movies, there's still royalties going off to the creators of the movies, so you can actually own and start your own digital video rental agency like online. You can do that with, I mean, again, tickets can be resold, books can be resold. After you read the book, you can sell it back on the secondary. And sometimes that book might go up in price because there's a limited edition of them or, whatever the case may be. And there might be access with the book, like that, VFriends thing. So there's so much opportunity here, is all I'm going to say. Like, it's super cool, and we should definitely embrace the opportunity and build tools to take part in this as much as you can. And like, let's be the pioneers here and actually have the tools.
I totally agree with that. And one thing that you all mentioned is, or something that I heard, is you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And a lot of individuals, such as athletes or older individuals, younger individuals, they don't understand what's about to happen. And I want so many people to just research, just listen, or jump into a space, come to a event like this, just randomly jump on a YouTube video or a podcast and just listen. You don't have to speak about anything. You don't have to go any further. Just open up your ears, because this is a way to educate yourself and progress as a human being. This technology will allow, for instance, athletes, I don't know how far it is, but the data ownership of a athlete will be very beneficial to us. I don't necessarily know all the details, but I would love to one day be able to own all of my content, all my stats, all my highlight videos, excuse me, all the images that are taken of me and sold on the internet that I don't get profit from directly at full 100%. And just seeing where this technology will head is exciting for me.
For sure. I can't tell you enough. Like when the social media, like I joke about it a lot, but being able to have it's the attention economy, and I don't own any of that TikTok content, and it's a lot of it. There's 15 million views on the hashtag Brooks Laugh. Like, all seriousness, that's a lot of eyeballs. And that's a lot of like people that trust me, because then I can hook them in and I can talk about crypto, and then I can teach women about crypto, and I can do all these things that I'm passionate about because of this huge audience. Do I own that? No, TikTok owns that. It's on their servers. This isn't lost on me. Um, you have to find different ways to monetize that, but to go into this new economy of I'm going to own all of that. It's going to be mine. And to be able to teach other people why that even matters. Why does that matter to you to have to own your stuff? Because money is what makes this world go around. Money is what is important for us to be able to have these conferences, to be able to teach, to do all that. That's how this works. So if you're just making content because it's fun in your house, and you're like getting all these likes and followers and attention, I mean, that's fine, but it seems like a waste. So if you're able to own that, and you can do what you truly want with it, then and you're getting that trust factor from people, then that's how you can grow and do anything you want. And that's how we're all up here, trying to help, trying to educate. And by doing that and having people trust you, you can do anything. So I wanted to see, there's 12 minutes left. If there's questions, otherwise we're just going to keep, yeah, go ahead. Maybe we need to get him a mic, or just for the recording. There you go.
Hello.
Is this thing on?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great panel.
We
Thank
are
you for
pretty
taking
awesome.
Yeah.
Especially Bill.
Bill is killing it.
He's
totally
it.
killing it.
Billy.
I love that he's like, I'm Alex. Sorry.
Well, I'm Rick. And hello, everyone. And Lucas, you brought up a point about Web3 and tools and how important they're going to be. But for those of us who are not tool developers, right, I have a different focus, and I want to get your feedback on it. I tend to look at smart contracts as being the most integral part of what's happening on blockchain, because it really is the gateway into the blockchain, in and out of it. So I wanted to get your thoughts on smart contracts, if you feel that there's a heavy importance on them, or whatever your
Yeah,
thoughts
I mean,
are
it
on that.
depending on what you're trying to do. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I mean, they're critical to what you're doing.
Right. And
So I've built smart contracts, or at least my team has built smart contracts that have literally, I mean, we kind of built a revolutionary one where we actually are able to literally airdrop on ETH layer 1 for the price of like airdropping on Polygon.
awesome.
Yeah. So I mean,
Wow.
like, they're critical to be for success in like Web3 currently. Like again, it's all it is JavaScript, right? At the end of the day,
Right.
it's just if you're a
I
good JavaScript developer, you're great at smart contracts. So
I asked the question because I'm new to the space
Yeah.
in general, about 6 months in.
sure,
And as I'm studying, I keep finding myself navigating the smart contracts. That's where I found my focus going.
it's very smart.
And
That's where you should be.
thank
I
you.
can tell you right now, if you master smart
Good
contracts,
job.
you're gonna be wicked smart, smarter than the smartest contract. So I could promise you right now, there's gonna be unbelievable opportunity if you can be a really, really good smart contract developer.
Super.
You'll never have to worry about like money again, I would say right now. So this is the
Thank you.
time to take advantage of
Appreciate
it.
the
Yeah,
input.
of
Appreciate
course.
it.
Yeah. Pass it back. And by the way, as a Solidity developer, it's not just JavaScript. I can tell you
But is
that I'm sitting right here. I can tell you that, and I said this yesterday. I don't know if anyone heard, but to audit a smart contract, we charge a lot of money, and it's guaranteed. It's guaranteed work. So go learn it. It is not difficult. You can learn Solidity on something called Crypto Zombies. So it's easy. You just need a little bit of basic technology background, a little bit of understanding. Yes, sir. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So, not a question, but a comment about the sports individuals that need to, own their highlight reels and things like that. There's a high-profile case going on right now. I don't know if a lot of people know about it. Phil Mickelson, one of the top golfers of all time. And he's in a big fight right now with the PGA because they refuse to let the players own their highlights. They can't promote themselves, they can't do anything because the PGA owns all that content. I mean, think of that. This guy's one of the top golfers in the world ever, and he doesn't control it. Now, he's made a shitload of money, no question about that. But so the Saudis are actually creating their own golf, what do you call it? Tournaments and all that. And I think they just paid him $150 million, because he wants to own his own content. Interesting.
Well, I'll tell you really quickly
The ball's
is
rolling.
January at the LA Art Show was the second time there was an NFT booth, and I was in a it wasn't Twitter Space, it was the other one that we shall not name. No, it was Clubhouse, and somebody heard that I was going, and um, they're like, do some behind the scenes. I'm like, well, it's not like I have a camera crew, following me around, which is funny because now I do, because I learned this lesson, and I'm a fairly smart person, and I still can't believe I let this happen, but this producer, this Hollywood producer, and I looked her up, and super legit, has done tons and tons of film and TV, and she's like, I'm sending you a cameraman. And for like 10 hours the first day, uh maybe a little less, it felt like 10 hours, we shot content. I have interviews from Sabat and Gabe Weiss and Paymon. I mean, the list goes on. The astronauts that did an NFT drop for hours and hours and hours. The next day he came back, and by the end of it, I said, oh well, where do I get that? And as the words are coming out of my mouth, I'm like, oh, I don't own this content, do I? He's like, well, no, because she paid me, and I still don't have that content. And there's a lot more to it, and there's attorneys, and it's like now it's so old. January was not that long ago, but that content is really out of date now. So now I'm vigilant, right? Now I'm like, somebody's gonna follow me around, it's gonna be my phone.
Decentralized social networks.
Yeah.
That's the fix for that, at least. I mean, you can shoot a video and all of a sudden it's yours, but there's never going to be a place where contracts aren't going to have to be negotiated no matter what, because there might be a boilerplate where it's, hey, everything's 70/30, but and eventually everybody just agrees to that, but there's always going to be contract negotiations. So
Everyone's like, didn't you? And I'm like,
can't remove people completely.
yeah.
So
Run the zone and it's
Just don't touch it.
yeah. But just to your point again about athletes or content creators owning their own material, I see college athletes really benefiting the most from this new technology. As far as like athletes who are going to be some of the first ones, college athletes now have their NIL rights as of a year ago, or a year and a half, or two ago, and they're allowed to make money. NIL stands for name, image, and likeness. And as an athlete, if you own those things, now you can make money outside of the contract that you have with your organization. I can go sign cards to anywhere. I can go host events and get paid for it in college. I'm not a college athlete, of course, but they can. And before, you couldn't earn any money outside of what your organization contract was. For instance, Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush got in trouble and lost his Heisman due to making money outside of playing sports or outside of playing football. But if he owned his data rights, if he owned um, whatever content he created, it is I don't know. It's very beneficial now for
College students don't get paid, right?
yes and no. They have scholarships. Um, they have scholarships, and we had got what's called stipends checks, and that will cover tuition. It will cover foods. It will cover stuff that you need within the college, but it doesn't cover things that you need outside.
They're making so much money off of you, though,
It's
right?
making a lot of money. I know I went to Oregon State. Oregon State was one of the go Bees, by the way. But Oregon State was one of the, I guess you want to say, lesser schools of the Pac-12 because the winning history wasn't necessarily there, but it was a great school. But a school like that alone made $6 million per game. This isn't Alabama. This isn't Texas. This isn't the Longhorns. I know we're in Texas, so shout out to the Longhorns as well. Uh, I grew up in Arkansas. Shout out to the Razorbacks as well. But they make a lot of money per game, and that money can now be divided up even more to the athletes who can't get that second job because a lot of their time is from sun up to sundown. I know I woke up at 5 o'clock every morning, didn't go to bed till 11, 12 o'clock at night, and had to repeat and do it all over again because I had workouts, I had practice, I had school, I had study hall, and then workouts again, working out multiple times a day, studying all day, trying to maintain that GPA average so I can qualify academically every year. Which as like regular students, they can afford to get another job, even though they're juggling going to school, studying, doing the same thing. So I understand what's about to happen with this NIL rights and this data ownership, or just owning your own content. It's important. It's huge.
2 minutes left. You guys have any final thoughts?
What do you got, Bill?
Wait till Web3 hits those
Here you go.
educational institutions, and
He's
we'll
really,
see how
really
student
excited about
athletes-
education, and I love it. I'm here for it.
Student athletes going to be getting a stipend and a half.
Is this on? So I have a question. With all the college athletes getting the NIL rights to, their work, and they want to go into the NFL, and I'm sure the NFL is going to give pushback to that. What happens if the NFL won't let them? I mean, and they want to play professional football, but there's no other way for them to play professional football. What's their option?
Can you rephrase that one more time for me, please?
Yeah. So if the college athletes now own the NIL and the rights to their work, but they also want to play professional football, but they also want to have those rights as a professional athlete. Where would they be able to play professional football if the NFL gives pushback to that and it won't let them have those rights? What
So
other option do they have to play professional football if that they might not let that and they want that?
yeah, so just for my background a little bit, again, I played college football. I played in the NFL. I played for what's called the Alliance of American Football. I played for the XFL, who Dwayne the Rock Johnson owns, which things will be kicking up this summer. Uh, That's what I'm training for here in Arizona. Moved and I moved to Arizona to train for the XFL again. Due to the pandemic, they had to shut down. But anyways, the XFL, the USFL, which is a new spring league as well, are leagues that are like minor leagues of football now. If the NFL, in my personal opinion, I feel like the NFL, let me just backtrack again. I feel like individuals who are going to have opportunity to play for these professional teams, no matter if it's the AAF, XFL, NFL, you're going to have to negotiate your contract. And if you have an agent or an individual that's looking out for you, the contracts will be structured differently now, and people are just going to have to adapt and basically just negotiate like you did in the past. But now you have more power as an athlete to get more, I guess you want to say, money or capital just from you being the individual that you are.
So I love that that we've had these conversations. The great thing about all of them, not me in particular, but they're all very approachable. I'm definitely not. You have to make an appointment. My assistant is somewhere. I'm kidding. But that's kind of the nice thing with a small sort of intimate group is that Tim's available. I'm just kind of letting him making that decision for him. But in all seriousness, like one of the nicest people I've ever met. Feel free to follow up with him later. So much information on this stage with these amazing, amazing friends of mine. Thank you so much.